So this week's episode is actually on tools and this setup here. So I've been working on the hoist upside down, getting under cars, being underneath the car and being on a hoist, drilling things out upside down in an awkward position, having hot swarf landing on me, and I was getting pretty bored of it. So I have gone and bought myself the Hare & Forbes rotisserie, and this thing's pretty good. It rolls nice and easy, and then you've got access to working underneath this car. So we'll get into how I set this up and how good of a tool it'll be. That came off easy. Oh. There's bolt parts in here. Let's have a look. So this is pretty much everything that comes in the box. I've kind of laid it all out flat, just looking at everything, and actually it looks like there's a fair bit of parts. Fortunately, comes with an instruction manual, so I don't throw that away, because looking at this here, there's a ton of bolts that I'm going to have to bolt up to put this thing together. But it's looking good. The casters look really heavy duty and decent. Looking forward to putting this together. So I'll probably time lapse putting a few things, putting this together, and then we'll get into some detail putting a car on this rotisserie. There we go. So these rings are now fully put together, one for the front, one for the back, and they just roll nicely in this little tracking system in here. So nice little system for that to be able to be balanced and then roll around. And it was pretty straightforward putting this together. It's just bolting it all up. Everything's in the instructions anyway. Takes a little bit of time, but super easy. And it's a nice strong design as well. So next thing we're going to get into is hooking these up to the car. So we're going to make a couple of custom mounts and then we'll move in. I'll show you how I'm going to do the mounts. You can put them in different positions wherever you want, but we're going to send that and put it up on this car now. I've pushed the ring to where I want on here, and I kind of want to come to this position up to this spot here. It's a good point to be able to bolt to. I can use the original mounts that are here, but it's far enough away from where I want to be working up on the sills on this build. So I'm going to make a little custom bracket that can come down from here and then bolt into here, bolt in up here. So I'll use some plate and then we'll go ahead, make something at the back. But bringing the hoist down gives me a few measurements so I can cut some blanks, make all that bracket, get that done, and we'll keep rolling and moving into the back brackets. I'm going to cut one section that goes up into the channel in where that factory mount is, coming down, and then I'll do another bit of box coming across. I'll weld that up right down to the side bit, weld that in, and then bolt through off on that frame on the beam, and then this bit just with one single bolt coming through. We'll weld that up and then get that on the front. 150 to the front. Oh, look at that, square as. I was going to set that square, but it's square straight off the bat. All right, let's burn it. On into the rear here, I've made this little block here because we don't have the rubbers, so I needed to infill up in there. Just a piece of nylon, spun it up on the lathe so it fits. M10 bolt, pop that up in there. So I'm going to do a little bit of plate off here down to some box section, and then box down in here, similar to the front. Mount this rear, and then this thing's pretty much ready to go. And we can do some more bits, and this thing will rotate. All right, so double check this. 325. All right, that's pretty well even. So I'm gonna put this bit of box here to where it'll bolt in, and I'm going to right about right there. We're going to roughly cut that off on both sides. Weld that to this bit of box, bolt it in. Front and rear brackets are done. The car's pretty much leveled off, mounted inside this rotisserie. So what I'm going to be doing down here is I've been undoing these bolts that I have set in here, because these here, I want to drop that car down a little bit more inside this internal frame. So it is made that you can come down low or that you can come up high depending on the height of the body of the car that it is that you're putting inside here. It is adjustable, so you can set that to whatever height that you want. So in doing that, I'm going to drop this down a little bit, and then that allows me, because these rollers here, this frame, there's a bit of tube that you can put across, which just stiffens it up a little bit on the top, and then that way I can set those, and these are nice and strong and parallel, making it really nice to roll it around. So I'll put those together, have this down, and this thing's done. this thing's put together. I have rolled it out a little bit so I can test it, see what it's like. So I have rolled it a little bit. It does roll nice and easy. And then there's a good little feature here around on the side as well. This feature down in here is the safety pin. So that's nice and easy. Flip that up, put that pin in, and it fully locks this into position. So that is on all four. So once you've got that set up, you're fully locked in. And then now, underneath, I can work on here. I can change these parts, drill, cut, get rid of some rust, make parts, put parts on here, get to sills up here in the front, just makes it a lot easier. And you don't need to have it as flipped up as this. You can have it a little bit further down to where you want to work, where you're a little bit more comfortable. And not only that, when you are done with this rotisserie, you can actually flip it down, bring it back down, take the top loops off, and have this as a table so it's sitting at a nice height and you can work on it, do your outer body panels once you're done using the rotisserie. So it can be a table plus being a rotisserie as well. So it is nice to be able to do that. If you want to add one of these to your workshop, it's just another great tool to add to the collection of all the other tools. It makes doing things a little bit easier, and then you can get underneath, do the things that you need to do. But one thing I would point out, if you're working on a rotisserie, is if you're going to be cutting your sills off and doing things on the floor, I recommend that you brace up everything on the internal side, so across where your doors are and that. If you're going to be cutting a whole floor out and getting rid of your sills, just brace that up so your car doesn't flex out and banana. Make sure everything's right, do your measurements, so that when you put all your new stuff back in, whether you've made it or you've bought parts, that it all goes back to its factory position where it should be and you haven't twisted up your car. So I hope you've enjoyed. Watch a few more videos on the channel, support the channel, and I'll see you on the next video.